Hello, hello, and welcome to the program. It's quite literally a fireside chat. So I thank you for joining me, where I hope to give you the timeless, proven principles of profitable advertising. Um, that's actually the whole name of the program. It's called Immortal Advertising. Immortal because I want to give you principles that you can use in your advertising that will never die, that have always worked, and that will always work no matter what you're trying to sell, no matter what industry you're in, because these principles are they are taken from human nature itself. They're never going to change. Um, and advertising. So let's talk about advertising because there's a lot of misconceptions about what qualifies as advertising. And so let's take a look first at the word advertise. It comes from two Latin words, ad vertere. Ad vertere means to turn towards. And so the question is, what is turning and towards what? If we want to figure out what an advertisement is or what advertising really is, we have to establish what that means. And so let's simplify it really quickly. Let's just make it really practical. What's the point of an advertisement? The point of an advertisement is to get someone to do something. Usually that means to get someone to agree to sign up for a newsletter or get someone to agree to a purchase. Usually it's the action that we're trying to get people to take is to convert to become a lead. So we're trying to generate leads or we're trying to generate sales. Leads or sales, those are generally the outcomes that we're looking for in an advertisement. And so this will help us deepen the definition that we're going to give for advertisement. So we know it's a turning towards, and if we know that an advertisement typically has the job of getting people to either become a lead or to generate a sale, then we know that the an ad must turn towards. It must turn attention towards a product or service. It must turn desire towards a product or service. It must turn action or the willpower of your individual prospect towards a product or service. And so now that we've got that out of the way, we are very close to a definition of advertising. And that definition is one that has been repeated for decades and decades and decades. Back into the late 1800s, there was a copywriter named John E. Kennedy, and he, I believe, to the best of my knowledge, he is the first one who is quoted as saying that advertising is salesmanship in print. Nowadays, we say, because of digital media, that advertising is salesmanship multiplied. Salesmanship multiplied is how we are going to discuss advertising on this program, because that really is the crux of what an advertisement should be. It should generate some sort of a sale. That doesn't necessarily mean it's always a purchase. The sale could simply be selling someone on signing up for a free newsletter or selling somebody on requesting a free report. So it's always about sales, which means that when we're looking at the efficacy or the goodness or badness of an advertisement, we should always be able to measure it as far as how effective it was at getting the sale that we were going for. Bad advertisements are liabilities and they cost you money. Good advertisements are assets and they make you money. But the only way that you can tell the difference is by being able to track them. And that's what makes scientific advertising so powerful as compared to something like conventional advertising, which very often it's impossible to track. They're trying to do something more like raise awareness or get the name out there or keep interest alive, things like that. They're very vague. They're going for impressions. They're trying to make as many mental impressions on their prospects' brains to psychologically take up space in their minds. And the idea there is that by taking up more space in their mind, they will at some point be more likely to buy from them. But I think that you can agree that there are many things that take up space in our mind that we would not necessarily buy and that we have no desire to buy. And for a business to run advertisements in that way, to focus not so much on getting sales or generating leads, but trying to just um, raise awareness or get attention without any sort of measurable metric, it's a huge risk. Conventional advertising is very high risk because you have a very vague idea of what you're trying to do with no means of measuring it, and you're just dumping money into a hole hoping that it works out. But of course, with no real way to measure if it worked. That is one form of quote unquote advertising. I don't even consider it a form of advertising. I consider that kind of stuff, that's general publicity. It could be public relations. You could consider it a form of marketing, sort of like how you might have a brochure that has no call to action. It's literally just an informational brochure intended to do nothing but inform the audience. That would be a piece of marketing, but it would not be an advertisement. Because again, the objective of an advertisement is to compel action that gives you a measurable result. And so that's what we're going to talk about here. Immortal, because of the principles that will never expire, principles of human psychology, principles of salesmanship, and principles of simple mathematics. That's the power of advertising with common sense, really. Common sense advertising is low risk advertising. All of the rest of it, can't recommend it. You've got big businesses that can do things like that because they can afford to spend tens of millions of dollars running ads that may or may not work, because they have enough money to burn. So why not? For them, it's more of a matter of literally trying to dominate people's psychology. And so that is utterly unsustainable for small to medium-sized businesses. And so I'm not going to recommend that to you. And we're hardly going to talk about it. What we're going to really talk about are the principles that I've already laid out, which is commonly they're called direct response principles. But here we're just going to call them advertising principles, because in truth, the kind of advertisement that I've described, the kind that is geared towards compelling action, that is measurable, that has the intention of generating leads or generating sales, those are the only kind of true advertising. And if you read the great advertising masters of ages past, they all say the same thing. Advertising is salesmanship multiplied by media. And so those are the three elements. We're gonna go into that a little deeper at another time, but the three elements of an advertisement are a sales argument that is communicated by a mass media to a target market. Those are the three elements of any advertisement. And so if any one of those three things are lacking, it doesn't qualify as an advertisement, which is what I just described. That's why big ads that are run by big companies, where the intention is merely to get eyeballs and just try to make mental impressions, those aren't really advertisements, because they're lacking one of the core elements of an ad, namely they're lacking a sales argument. So I hope that makes sense. I mean, if you disagree, feel free to leave a comment. I'd be happy to engage and have that discussion. But this is just something that I have discovered over years and years of study and work in advertising. And the stuff works. This idea of scientific advertising or direct response advertising, it really works, and it's going to be the most effective form of advertising for small to medium sized businesses. Okay, so that's the introduction. I do apologize. I don't normally do lives, so just hang in there with me, stick with me. I guarantee you that I'm going to get better over time, and hopefully, regardless of the finished quality of the production, I hope that the value of the information alone makes it worth it. Anyway, I hope that you will come back for another session, and I'll talk to you soon.